Stop Jeweler, offering a beautiful selection of jewelry and fine watches with professional repairs and custom designs. Visit Jewels on Hampton today.
James Thomas Morning Blend. I'm here with Matthew Hansford, and we're actually here talking about his new company, Final Thoughts, right?
That is correct.
Tell us about Final Thoughts. What is Final Thoughts?
So a few years ago, I was listening to an NPR podcast, and it was really revolving around the things people wish they had always said and wish they had always done with their life. And from this initial concept came our passion for Final Thoughts. We kind of met at my founder's kitchen table every Sunday morning. We talked about this concept, we had coffee, and we said, how can we bring this passion as a technology that people would actually like to use? And from that, we came up with Final Thoughts Connects Loved Ones During and After Life. And, you know, I really try to think of, what is it? Where does emotion meet technology? Can emotion meet technology? And I try to think, imagine how you would feel to discover a message left just for you. Imagine creating a birthday message or a wedding congratulations for your child and having it delivered to them on their special day. The users that are engaged with our site are creating content not for today, but for the future, saying the things and sharing the moments they will not be here to say for themselves.
So it's kind of like a message, if for example, my son, if I want to send a message to my son after I pass,
Correct.
To give him his own personal message, this is what I would do.
And not just one message, but a lifetime of messages with him. You could make him a message now if he's 10, and one when he's 15 and 20 and 30 and 40, and that entire evolution of your relationship would come through in that content. We also offer time message delivery as well, not necessarily afterlife messaging, but anything that you feel, hey, I would like this content to go out, but it'll be lost in your camera roll in 5 years.
Right.
Here's a way to set it. And unlike the giants, the Googles and the Facebooks that are sending your content out when they see fit, and maybe it's the best of you, maybe it's not, but it definitely is the content is most easily monetized for them. So we bring in this concept of intentionality, the intention of the user, and intentionality becomes the basis and the passion for this company, creating a definitive opted in or opted out. I would like this or I wouldn't like that done with my digital impression.
You know, it's interesting. So let's say, for example, I'm not too keen on funeral services.
Sure.
I like memorial services. That's the way to go.
Where it's going.
Yeah, I could do a message to my family and to my friends to say how much I love them and what I thought about them, you know,
So
personally.
Maybe instead of, you look at a funeral and what that is and what it is constructed by, could you not create an amazing afterlife content that could just be played? And maybe your friends and family could just go to a park and you would have said, I love Emo's Pizza and I want Emo's to cater it and here's my message, and you all get together and you have that remembrance versus this, what has been going on for the last 80 or 100 years. And reasonably before that, memorial services were like what you're thinking of now. It's only been this short period of time that they've been this really regimented idea.
Excuse me, what advice would you give someone else who's starting out as an entrepreneur? It sounds like you're pretty seasoned, you're pretty much well into it. And one thing that I got from your conversation just a few minutes ago was the idea of collaboration. So what would you tell other entrepreneurs? What are some of those traits they need to look at to start their business?
I think always one that we see is the do not design in the dark, right? Are you designing something for yourself or for someone else? The St. Louis tech environment or startup community is as strong as the big cities you heard of here about Silicon Valley, Austin, Chicago, Boston. We may not have as much money, but we have as much resources, and we have huge universities like Washington University and SLU that are engaging. There is so much free resources out there. If you're an entrepreneur in St. Louis, here at T-Rex, there is the I-10 program. SLU offers their business model validation program. Cortex offers their Ignite and then their boot camp programs where you can walk in with an idea. Now, you can't be scared to show your ugly baby.
Right.
You have,
right.
And they are hideous. I've been through them all. And mine was hideous as well. But I was like, here's my baby. And they're like, oh. But show it, walk in, talk to these people, and maybe design something that somebody would want to use. And that is really, I think, some great advice early. And what you'll hear in all of those is fail and fail fast. Here's my idea. Put it out. We hate it. Great. Pitch, fail, refine. Pitch, fail, refine. And the first couple times I stood on those stages, like I was going to barf, right? Because you were standing in a room of people that had PhDs. You're standing in a room of people that understood this industry and you knew nothing. And I remember walking up in one of the early pitches and I had said to my assistant at the time, Marcy, I'm going to throw up. She's like, Matt, you can throw up afterwards, but you can't before you walk up there. And you do it 10 times and 20 times and 30 times, and then you're like, okay, I know I'm only going up here to validate the negative. The good ideas I don't need any help with.
Right.
I need this guy in the back that's got 3 PhDs to tell me the 6 reasons why this is a terrible idea. And they say it nicely. I don't know, do you know Ned Lips? He's a...
Yes, yeah.
Ned, what does he say? Nobody cares what you have to say and nobody wants to hear it. That's how he starts every conversation.
Wow.
And you're like, you're right, Ned. So I have 5 seconds to grab your interest because you've already told me you don't care what I'm going to say. And that's what you get in this St. Louis entrepreneurial startup. We may not have the billions of dollars like Silicon Valley is, but we have a lot of smart people and a lot of people that want to help, that have found themselves for the longest time were maybe users of information. And they were looking for resources, and they have now found themselves in a position to be a resource. And when you put someone in the role of they've been a student their whole life and now they're a teacher, boy, do they push out, do they have great ways to help you.
You sound like a pretty good advocate for the ecosystem here in St. Louis.
It saved me so far. It got me this far. I don't know what I would have done without it.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us today, Matthew. James Thomas, Morning Blend. Any other advice? Which you talked about the Cortex before we get away. They have Venture Cafe on Thursdays.
They do, and it's soon to be like the biggest thing ever with their new space or whatever.
Right, the innovation space will be at 4240.
4220 is where it's
4220.
4240 now.
Yeah, 4240 would be Venture Cafe, but the innovative space, the bigger one, is going to be 4220.
And it moves there in November? Correct?
November, yeah.
If you go to Venture Cafe every Thursday night with your little inkling, glimmer of an idea, after 8 weeks, 10 weeks, you will walk out with something. The amount of programming that's offered there every Thursday night surely is far-reaching, greater than anything that's offered anywhere else in this country. You can take in an inkling and walk out with something in 6 months just by going to an event once a week.
Matthew, what's your number at Venture Cafe?
Maybe 82, something like that.
82 means that's how many times he's been, actually how many weeks he's been at Venture Cafe, because it happens every Thursday. Yeah. James Thomas, Matthew, final thoughts. Thank you so much for your time and your inspiration. Definitely.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.